All right, we got Premier League and FA Cup action this weekend. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. That guy up top is Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down below is Sean. He supports Tottenham. Boys, good day. How are you? It is the semifinals of the FA Cup. We all love the FA Cup here. Like in all actuality, I really do enjoy the FA Cup. I'm excited for this weekend, mostly because there's only one of the traditional Big Six teams in the semifinals of the FA Cup. So we'll get into all of that. We will get into the fact that Liverpool could be crowned champions this weekend. It's all dependent on whether or not Ange Postecoglou can get the boys to do anything. And for some reason, Brad has highlighted this Chelsea-Everton game. So I guess he wants to talk about this. But before we do that, hit the subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell, hit it with a follow if you're on the podcast site, all that good stuff. And Brad, tell me why Chelsea versus Everton is of any interest to anyone, anywhere.
So I have it tagged as for top 5 battle reasons. I also have Newcastle, Ipswich. We can throw both of them in there. These are the last. Like this is the last game. No, sorry. This is one of the last games that Chelsea absolutely positively needs to win. Like every game is a cup final, sure, but like if we drop points to Everton, then we are not getting top 5. That's that serious, right? Newcastle have it much easier with Ipswich. So they're essentially relegated without being relegated yet.
If Newcastle beat Ipswich or draw, or if Wolves beat Leicester, then Ipswich will be relegated. West Ham, that's what I mean. West Ham beat Brighton. Sorry, not Wolves.
West Ham beat Brighton.
West Ham.
Yep, sorry, I was looking at it earlier.
I got my W teams confused. So Ipswich could also confirm their relegation. I assume that's why you highlighted Ipswich there, Brad, because you are always concerned about the relegation implications.
Both things. I mean, listen, we weren't the only ones concerned about relegation. You and I aren't really concerned about relegation more than it's the end of the season. But in between those two W teams, there's a club there that this might have been very tight if it wasn't for the championship clubs.
Yeah,
what's that middle team?
We have been robbed from a generationally interesting relegation battle this season because there were 3 abysmal teams that came up from the championship. Could you imagine if Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich had any teeth to them at all this year? We would have had Tottenham, United, West Ham, Everton, maybe Wolves,
Everton, West Ham United. Yeah, you
would have been in a relegation scrap. Could you imagine a world where Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspurs are in a relegation fight?
We almost didn't have to, man. I mean, I would love to imagine. I would love to see those things happen. But yeah, we did not get that.
Would have been incredible. Maybe next year. Maybe. Okay, so I agree with you. Chelsea-Everton is big from a Chelsea perspective that they have to win. But your point is well taken that if Chelsea can't beat Everton, then they're probably finishing 26th in the group of Champions League anyway. So,
and then we'll end up. Well, hey, listen, we'll be in the Europa League because we still have a trophy to win.
Oh, you mean if you'll be in?
We still have a trophy to win this year.
Oh, true. Yeah, you guys.
We're still in that Conference League.
I forgot that the Conference League was a thing. Who's still in the Conference League?
Real Betis, Fiorentina, Chelsea, and who's our opponent? Hold on, I had it up here.
You could lose to any of those teams. You could lose to either of those teams, Betis or Fiorentina, over one game. Absolutely.
Djurgården.
Oh,
Djurgården.
Is that like from China?
Swedish.
Is that a Chinese team?
Swedish. It's got weird A's and stuff in it. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I tried.
Well,
they're 12th.
Obviously.
Honestly, last week's Europe, I was just absolutely gripped for an hour and a half, and it wasn't the beginning hour and a half. Like it was it was bananas.
Is that because of Manchester United though?
Well, it wasn't just that. It was the end of the Tottenham game. It was Manchester United and I
Lyon.
can't remember who, and Lyon scoring 5 goals in extra time, and it was absolutely bonkers. Another game went to penalties.
Lazio.
Lazio and it wasn't Malmo, but it was Norwegian team.
Whoever the Norwegian team is that's still in it.
First Norwegian team
Bodo
to make
Glimt?
it to a.
it was
Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, first Norwegian team to make it to a European semifinal ever. So shout out to our opponent in 2 weeks, or in a week, I guess rather.
Yeah.
Because we play Liverpool in the weekend, and then our first semifinal leg is next week.
Speaking of that Liverpool match, tell me how you're going to get 3 points off Liverpool.
We're not, brother. Sorry.
Try again. How is
this? That's not happening. They're lifting the trophy.
They got the trophy ready for them.
That's the thing that's funny about this is because Spurs, we have been memeing Spurs mercilessly since last season when y'all rolled over against City and all the fans were like, yeah, let's roll over against City so Arsenal can't win the title. And then Ange was like, what is this club that I'm at? What is this broken club that I'm at? And you guys are going to roll over for Liverpool so Liverpool can lift the title so Arsenal can't. And
we're not rolling over. We can't beat them. It's not possible.
Yes, you can.
Wait, I mean, you beat City this year, so you can't say that. But
that was
like, do you think that's when Ange realized, oh, I don't know if I want to be here anymore?
I think if he realized that at that point and he stayed in that entire another year, then that's on him.
I mean, money's money, my guy. Money is money.
Well, I will remind you that we're in a European semifinal right now.
True, you're not wrong.
True,
but word on the street is he's sacked even if you guys win it. So,
well,
might as well get that trophy on the way out the door.
And listen, he has now lost as many games in this season as Poch did in all 3 of his seasons combined.
He was there for more than 3 seasons, but I threw out that stat last year. It was 15 to 18.
Yeah. His last 3 seasons combined. Yeah. That's impressive.
Who, if we turn our attention to the FA Cup, how do you guys think Forest can knock City out?
I hope so. I'm here for it.
I just played them. Yeah, they're playing. Honestly, seeing the emotion on, especially like Gibbs White after the win, those players feel it. You could tell that they're amped. They're ready for this. They feel Champions League, Champions League selection. They feel the FA Cup final. They're feeling it. They're here to play.
Do you think that those players would rather qualify for the Champions League at the expense of the FA Cup, or win the FA Cup at the expense of the Champions League?
I think they want both. I mean, I know that's a cop-out answer, but they're just. They're really excited. They celebrated like it was a championship after beating Tottenham because they knew what it meant. They knew that it took them back to third. It took them back into the Champions League spots.
So look, that's the limit. Like, yes, I'm a Chelsea fan, but let's put that on the side for a second. As far as the Forest team, of course, you want the Champions League football qualification. But what have we seen from these teams that get Champions League qualification? What happens the next year?
Generally,
absolutely
they do well, not well.
Right. They get dogged in the Champions League. They get dogged in the league because they're trying to play at 2 major tournaments that they don't have the teams for.
I'm going to have a quick timeout for you there.
Not Villa.
Because Villa got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and are still in the running for it. You're just thinking Newcastle.
Okay, but while Villa was while Villa was going through going through Champions League like the season, right?
The group stage.
They were 10th. They were
but they're
9th.
still.
They weren't.
But when they were
sure, they are still into a fight now. That as soon as Europe was dropped, they started climbing up.
No, because they were in the thick of it while they were in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. You can't say the weekend after. They've only been eliminated from the Champions League for
I was going to say, you can't say when
days.
they dropped the Champions League, it was last week.
Yeah, it was like 6 days ago.
They got dropped.
I take your point that they struggled with dealing with the 2 matches a week. I don't disagree with you, but they stayed relevant enough.
What I would say is, if I am forced, I think like a Europa League with a trophy this year is a huge season.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly getting both is an amazing season.
I'm taking
like,
the FA
I think
Cup.
you want the trophy.
Yeah,
I think you take the trophy.
I'm taking the trophy because it's a trophy. You can say that you've won something, and I also think that if they beat City, they will be so like energized to go on and qualify for the Champions League. So I'm also going to cop out along with Sean to my own question, and that they want both, and that I think that they have a legitimate. I think they can get both. But they have to beat City, and City have the ability to change 10 players essentially and still have a legitimate team going into the semifinal. Now, right. I don't think that they're going to make sweeping changes from who played against Villa on Tuesday, but they could, in theory, make sweeping changes. But I don't think that they will. I think the Palace Villa game is certainly more interesting. Because on paper, I think we would all say that Villa will win that game handily, but can Palace put it together for 90 minutes and beat Villa?
I mean, it's the cup, baby. There could be some cup magic here. They have a couple of players that can pull some things out of their what's and get some crazy goals and defend like mad. Like Palace has been a team that's like been performing now, right? Like whatever reason, they still haven't hit 40 points, so they're still down to kick. They have hit 40 points, so they're down to vibe in the league to win the cup.
They have an FA Cup winner on their squad in Eddie Nketiah, so I don't know if that's going to cancel out the FA Cup winner on Villa's squad and Emi Martinez, but both have an FA Cup winner on their squad.
It's funny. Out of his resume, you picked FA Cup winner for Arsenal instead of his World Cup winning.
Well, if we get more into Emi Martinez, because I'm making an Arsenal connection. But if we get more into Emi Martinez, I was gonna say this when I was watching their game against City, is that he is maybe the best international goalkeeper in the world, but he is just super inconsistent at the league level. Like, did you see the first goal he conceded against City?
Yes.
He just like palmed it into his own net. Like it was atrocious. It was like, if you expect this guy to be the best goalkeeper in the world, which I'm pretty sure he's won that award from FIFA for like
twice,
2 years running or something like that.
Yeah.
If he's gonna win that award, you can't concede that goal, and he did. And so I think that for some reason he gets up when he wears that Argentina jersey, but Villa is just all over the place. Which is probably why Arteta moved on from him, if I'm being completely honest, is that Arteta was like, you're just not consistent enough.
Is he like the Romero for Villa? Romero is for the Spurs?
But Romero is also good for Spurs. He's good for Argentina and he's good for Spurs.
Yeah, it's just a good defender.
Okay.
Yeah, he's decent.
World beater. That's 16th. So who do you have? Palace versus Villa?
I think Villa's probably going to win. They will have had little bit. They will have a little bit more rest because they played a day earlier than Palace. They've got a squad that's more adept at going hyper intense cup game, league game. So I think I'm taking Villa. I think I'm rooting for Palace though. I think I'm rooting for a Palace Forest final.
That sounds spicy. I like that. And I don't see, one of the home teams has got to get a dub. We can't have both away teams walking away from these storied fields.
Well,
going towards the FA Cup. I know it's at Wembley.
All being played at Wembley.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we get a Villa City final, which I think will be a cracker. I think that would be a great final. I think I don't want to see a Palace City final because I think City would roll Palace.
Yes.
So maybe I'm rooting for, I don't know. Maybe I'm rooting for Villa in the first semifinal, just so that I think that they have a better shot at beating City than Palace.
So the game's interesting then?
I just don't want City to win. I just don't want City to win.
I hear that.
So tell us what you guys think. Quick update for the picks. We did picks all last week. This is so far, as of recording, the Arsenal Palace game hasn't happened, but it doesn't matter. We'll still give you an update. But Jimmy is still in the lead. He is at 171 points. Sean Stradamus is in second at 167. Brad is just fallen like an anchor at 163. So Joel and I don't matter. We are irrelevant to this conversation. It seems like Brad might be irrelevant to this conversation as well at this point. It might just come down to Sean and Jimmy / Joel. So
listen, I might not be able to catch Jimmy, but Sean and I have the same distance between him and Jimmy. So if you think I'm dead in the water, then this race is over.
No, I never said you couldn't catch Sean. I just said you couldn't catch Jimmy.
Oh, okay. We'll see what happens.
Okay, sounds good, Brad. We'll see what happens, and you can see what happens too when you check out next week's episodes of Red Card Radio. And if you're interested in getting picks in and getting into this overly elaborate spreadsheet, then you can do that too through our Discord by selecting picks for this week's Premier League games. If you pick the FA Cup, it won't matter because I won't add it to the spreadsheet. But if you pick the Premier League, that's what's going into the spreadsheet. So pick those 7 games coming up this weekend. Get it in our Discord. You could join in the description below. Hit us up on social media. Brad is at KSBradG. Sean is at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Collectively, we are at RedCard_Radio. We hope you enjoy it. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. And we will be back next week to break all of this down and do something. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Hope you have a good time watching football this weekend.